Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're out in the tent because we have extremely high winds outside and it's really cold. So we're using this tent to keep ourselves warm, and you can see the propane heater over there in the corner. But what I wanted to do is show you guys the MDR and 6.5 Creedmoor. Now, if you're a Patreon supporter, you've already seen this rifle in action. I did a video on it where I had just done the conversion and I was talking about it, shooting it for groups, kind of getting used to the gun. Now, this is my very early generation MDR. This one is one of the first guns that shipped Copper Custom, which is the online store, coppercustom.com, set up as a dealer for the MDR. We're really excited about it. I use the Desert Tech SRS A1 and SRS A2 bolt action rifles quite a bit, just a nilgai hunt with 1 and 338 Lapua. So I'm a big bullpup guy, as you guys well know, but I liked the MDR, but it was 308. And I used it in 308, hunted with it in 308, but I'm just over 308. And a lot of people are feeling the same way. It's a great military cartridge. I'm not trying to, kick those of you guys out there that just love 308 in the rear end by saying that. It's just, there's more out there. And more, I'm talking about things like 6.5 Creedmoor. And why do I say 6.5 Creedmoor is more? Well, it gives you the range that 308 simply doesn't have to give. 308 doesn't have the same ballistic coefficient. 308 doesn't buck the wind. 308 is truly about an 800-yard cartridge, and yes, I've seen it shot out to even a mile, but that doesn't make it an effective cartridge, or that doesn't mean that there aren't better calibers out there like 6.5 Creedmoor. So I've been pushing to get a bullpup gas gun in 6.5 Creedmoor because while I enjoy shooting bolt actions, I prefer to hunt with gas guns. And so I got a phone call from Desert Tech, and they said, hey, what would you want for Christmas? Well, first of all, I knew who I was talking to, so I'm thinking of their product line. What would I want from them for Christmas? And I said a 6.5 Creedmoor conversion for the MDR, and they said, Merry Christmas. We're going to send you one of our prototype barrels. We want you to test it and give us feedback. By the time I got the barrel, though, it was actually a production barrel. They said, we went ahead and sent out a production barrel. They're in production now. And I've been playing with it for quite some time, and I've been impressed with how it works. Now, there were aftermarket barrels that were available, but I wanted a factory solution. So the MDR, one of the things that's really cool about it is just how quickly you can convert it from one caliber to another. It's just like their bolt action rifle, the SRS, for the most part. And I can't show you how that's done in this video because YouTube has rules now around showing the modification of firearms, and it's a no-go. But suffice it to say, all you need is a wrench to loosen a couple of screws, slide your barrel out, put the different caliber conversion in this case 6.5 Creedmoor. You don't even need to change the bolt when you're going from 308 to 6.5, and tighten things down, and within 2 minutes you have a caliber conversion. And that's how this rifle was set up. So it does currently have the factory or the OEM barrel in it. I do have this extended handguard that I put on my gun early on. Originally, when it was 308, I had the OSS suppressor, which you see on here now, recessed into the handguard. And I've already done an MDR video, so I'm not going to go into all the cool features of being able to go from right or left-handed use simply by changing these port covers over. But yeah, this is just a really handy, perfect hunting rifle for me, and now I'm madly in love with it, and I've been shooting it a lot, and today I want to share it with you guys. Now we've got a bunch of rounds downrange, but we just recently went to SHOT Show 2020, and they introduced even more MDRs. Now, I, from early on stage, said this is not a military rifle. I felt that Desert Tech was mismarketing this gun. They were showing guys in exoskeleton, robotic-looking outfits crawling through the rubble of some post-apocalyptic scene with one of these MDRs, and that's just not what the gun was built for. I knew right away that it wasn't going to be a military-grade rifle in terms of reliability in harsh conditions. And if you watch Garand Thumb, he went out and proved the guns weren't meant for military conditions. And so I've always felt that it was a hunting rifle. That's how I looked at it, and that's how I've used it since day one. But they've wanted to harden the rifle up. And so at SHOT Show 2020, I'm going to read this off my phone because I want to give you guys the latest and relevant information. So this is the standard MDR. They made an MDR X, and the MDR X starts at right around $2,099. And X stands for extreme. They upgraded the polymer resin to better withstand high impact falls. They also improved the gas block drainage to ensure maximum reliability and performance in water and mud submersion testing, which is what Garand Thumb did. And then the trigger pull was improved, although the trigger on my gun is really, really good. Now, I will say that the guys at Desert Tech were telling me, send the gun in, we want to do the updates to it. And I didn't want to send it in because it ran good for me. I had no problems with my first gen gun. Reluctantly, I sent it in for the updates, and it came back, and it runs great. The trigger on this thing, mine, is already really good, but I have a lot of rounds through it. And then, let's see. It's standard with a 20-inch barrel for those of you looking for additional velocity. And let's see. Then they have the SE, which is more of an affordable line. It gets rid of this forward ejection chute, which I can just pop this off and it'll shoot right out the side anyway, but it leaves kind of a big ugly hole when you do that. All right, you can see it's kind of big and nasty looking in there. Well, the new SE starts at $1889.98. SE stands for side eject. Because they had a number of requests for people that didn't want the forward eject system. They didn't want to deal with the additional costs, so they lowered the cost by a couple $100 and made it available as a standard side eject, which I have zero interest in. I love the fact that this thing kicks them forward. I was very reluctant about the scissoring mechanism that goes on inside here. I didn't know that and it's one of the reasons why I said I didn't think it'd ever be military grade, but for how I use it for hunting and everything like that, it's never failed me once. This gun has gone bang every single time. So that's what I want to talk about in today's video, is do a little bit of shooting with this. We're going to start off by shooting a few groups to show you what the accuracy is with some of the 140 grain federal ammunition. This is gold medal match. The 140 grain match is probably the best for target shooting, and the further out you go, the better it's going to perform. Right now, this gun is right around a minute gun on average. It shoots a little above, a little below, but it's going to average a minute or a little bit more with the federal gold medal match at 100. But what's interesting, the further you stretch it out, and I've seen this phenomenon before, is that while you're shooting a 1.5 inch group at 100 yards, you'll shoot a 1.5 inch group at, in this case, 250 yards. I can very easily hit a very tiny little phone-sized prairie dog target at 250 yards with this thing with very little effort. The scope I'm using is, it's made by Primary Arms. You can pick them up at Copper Custom as well. We do sell the Primary Arms scopes. I'm a big fan of these scopes. This is the ACSS Raptor M2, so it has an ACSS reticle in it. It is not a precision reticle, has a big chevron on top and then holdovers. I like it for hunting. It has an illuminated reticle on it, and it has a nice big easy to use sight picture for doing wind holds and also doing elevation holds, which is very handy. In the field, I'm not going to be dialing in elevation when I'm getting ready to take a shot on an animal. I just know what my holdovers are for any particular distance, and that's what I'm going to use the reticle for. So it's very nice, small, compact, and extremely durable. Primary Arms has really come a long ways in terms of going from what most people consider to be a budget brand to producing optics like this, which are really high-performing optics. Hi. Riding that bolt release so it won't lock open. That's all me. So had to figure out my elevation. First shot, clearly saw it go right over the top of the dog's head, and so using the ACSS reticle in the center post, I just brought it down at the equal value from what I saw it go over its head, seeing the bullet splash, and boom, we're on target, and all rounds connected after that. Unbelievable accuracy out of a gas gun bullpup. I mean, color me impressed and extremely happy. This is the 250-yard prairie dog target, and just to give you a size comparison, this is an iPhone 11 next to it. So prairie dogs are fairly small targets to be shooting at, and you need extreme accuracy to be able to hit them at 250, 300, 400, even 500 yards. I've gotten kills at 600 plus yards on prairie dogs in the past. So having this little target out here really helps you hone your skills when you're out there trying to bag yourself a prairie dog. But fortunately, the real ones are dumb enough that when you're shooting at them, you can actually hit just 6 inches off to one side of them, and they'll just stand there and let you take a second shot so you can actually get your wind. Goofy critters, but they're fun to shoot at. One of the challenges you're going to face when shooting a bullpup off a rest, either the Tavor or in this case the MDR, is the fact that they both have a bolt release right here just behind the magazine well. So when you pull the bolt to the rear, this little lever extends downward. When it locks open on the last round fired, you put a magazine in, hit it, and it drops the bolt. But you'll also notice when you have a rear bag, it's already pushing on that, so it's not going to lock to the rear on the last shot fired. But other than that, the reason I love this size and I love bullpups is because I have the benefit of a barrel that's going to get me the velocity I need to shoot at those extended ranges, but it's in a small package. Even with this OSS titanium 30 caliber suppressor on the end, I can get in and out of a blind very easy with this. I can get set up, I can easily, put it out the window, and I still have a full-length barrel on this rifle. So that's what makes me really attracted to bullpups, especially in terms of hunting. When you're moving in and out of brush and moving in and out of blinds, you just can't beat having that long barrel in such a short package. We have some of the Federal 140 grain gold medal match rounds loaded up. Our friends at Federal do supply the ammunition to the channel. They support us in that way, so we want to thank them for supplying the ammunition for us to test and to hunt with and everything else. All right, I'm going to go ahead and charge the weapon. You'll notice it has charging handles on both sides. I just used the one on the left, but they're identical. And I've locked it back in its HK style locking recess. Then all I have to do is just push down it with my thumb, and it chambers that first round in the PMag. It's just a standard 308 PMag that I'm feeding from here. We have ambi selector controls. And again, if you want to change how this gun ejects, all you have to do is just pop these port covers off, reverse them, and now it's a left-handed gun. It's exactly the same on both sides of the gun, with the exception this selector lever is a little bit truncated on the right-hand side for left-handed use. All right, so let's go ahead and shoot a group with the 140 grain stuff, which is my long-range round, and see how it performs. All right. Yeah, the trigger on this thing is insanely light and crisp. I can't imagine a better trigger, but again, I've had this rifle for a long time. I've put a lot of ammunition through it, and it's just maybe just broken in. They say they've upgraded it, but I can't imagine. I wouldn't want a trigger any lighter than this. Okay, it's approaching match quality in terms of how light it is. It has a nice flat face to the trigger. It has a very good feel to it. A little bit of slop in the take up and stuff. It's not a true match trigger, but for hunting purposes, it's more than adequate. So that was my first 5-shot group. Let's go ahead and put another one down range. I only get a few rounds here because of the suppressor. I start to get a mirage, and it looks like water down range. And that isn't conductive to shooting the best groups. When you're shooting and you got that nice tight group going, it's always the 5th round that screws your group up for you. We got the 140 grain Federal gold medal loaded up here. All right. didn't lock open. That's because I'm riding that bolt stop. So, yeah, she's a shooter. Really, really enjoy shooting this thing at range. I got to get out to a prairie dog field. So overall, I continue to be very happy with my MDR. The 6.5 Creedmoor conversion kit is just outstanding. The gun shoots as well as I expected it to, and yeah, it's still as handy as ever. The OSS titanium 30 cal can works great on it. It does not, again, overgas the rifle, so I'm not having to mess with my gas settings. I can take the can off, it's going to run just fine. Put the can on, again, run just fine. It is a 20-inch barrel that's on here, and I think I screwed up and said maybe a 24 at the beginning of the video, but it's actually a 20-inch barrel that's on the gun. If you want to convert your existing 308, you can simply order the barrel. That's all you need to change. It uses the same 308 PMags, uses the same 308 bolt. It's a simple barrel change. You just have right here on the side of the receiver, have a little unlock bolt, and then you have two loosening bolts. Just loosen those up, pull your barrel out, follow the instructions for reinstalling it, and it's that simple. So I'm going to continue to shoot it. I really enjoy having this thing in 6.5 Creedmoor now. I'd kind of burned out on it in 308. It's like I have had new life breathed into this rifle, and so I hope to do a lot of hunting this coming year using this rifle. Guys, if you'd like to support us here at the Military Arms channel, there's a couple of ways you can do that. First of all, you'll see a little join button just underneath the video player, either on your phone app or mobile device or on your desktop. Click that join button, check out some of the options there for supporting us here at the Military Arms channel. We don't take money from the gun companies. We are supported by you, our viewers. Also, Patreon. That's probably one of the best ways to support us. Become part of our Patreon family. There is a link down below in the description. Click that link. Again, check it out and see if it works for you. And last but not least, please swing by and check out coppercustom.com. Guys, thanks for 12 years of support, and we'll talk to you soon.